Hello everyone, and welcome to my video. My video of a game of two professional StarCraft 2 players. Those two players being WhiteRa, the red Protoss, up here in the northeastern corner of the map, and MarineKing being our blue Terran player in the southwestern corner of the map. Both these players are very well-known players, of course, fan favorites. Um, Very likable characters. WhiteRa being known for his special tactics use of warp prisms and other unorthodox play in order to catch his opponent off guard with various different strategies such as carriers and warp prisms, especially, of course, in order to do harassment and just general things that might be regarded as silly in order to overcome obstacles that others have been unable to do. So this game is a game from the Taipei Game Show 2012. Happened the first week of February, depending on when you're watching this. So it was then, first week of February 2012. It's just a show match between WhiteRa and MarineKing, you know, just for fun. Players like to have fun, of course, like to play their game and just have a good time. Both of these players, of course, being good sports, loving to play the game of StarCraft 2. So we have a little bit of probe dancing in here. Probe tried to pick off this SCV, but of course MarineKing would have none of that. Chased off the probe with another SCV. He's going to have them battle it off a little bit. Probe retreating. Probe returning. Is he, oh, is he? Yes, he is. He is going to try and kill this SCV before the barracks can complete. And will he be able to get it? Oh, it looks like the SCV dodges in the nick of time. And this probe is going to be chased out of the base just to return once more. A Marine is coming out, so the probe's lifespan is going to be pretty short if he chooses to remain in the base very long, which of course he does not. He knows that probe is on, or he knows that Marine rather is on the way. Meanwhile, in WhiteRa's base, he's doing a pretty typical opening, getting a cyber core, of course. Not really too much room for deviation there for a Protoss player. Cyber core is pretty essential to doing any type of thing unless you wanted to do a very early expand. Without having a cyber core, which could of course be very dangerous, especially against a player of the caliber of MarineKing. This probe is being chased by two Marines, but the Marines do not catch it. The probe does escape. It's going to go hide out in the north corner, perhaps going to put down a proxy pylon, or just sit there and wait for a point later in the game to just come in and scout and see what's up. You have a Zealot taking the Xel'Naga Tower, wants to extend the vision, see what is coming his way before it comes. We have this factory being thrown down. The second gas is being taken from MarineKing. No sign of any expansion yet, so it's quite possible we're going to see some sort of one-base play. Meanwhile, WhiteRa did just throw down his Nexus. We're going to be seeing what looks like, or what is a one-gate expand. He's going to use Warp Gate. He's got that sentry on the way. He, of course, he has this probe, which escaped the clasps of death earlier. Escaped those two Marines. We have this one Stalker is going to go around, probably try and peek up the ramp to see what's going on. Try and get like a unit count, see what kind of tech buildings that MarineKing has, stuff like that. So we're going to see that Stalker's coming up. Let's see, what does WhiteRa see? He's clicking away. Comes up, he sees the Marines and the reactor, and that's all he sees. So, for all he knows, MarineKing could only have this barracks and this reactor and just be making Marines constantly. He has no idea about this starport or this factory here, making Hellions and Medevacs. But of course, MarineKing will eventually show those. MarineKing's probably going to try and chase off this Stalker to... no. Looks like, okay, the Stalker being at the Xel'Naga Tower does see those Hellions. I'm not sure if it saw the Medevac, but it's very likely. Nope, this Zealot does run away. Wants to be safe. Doesn't want to die to these Hellions. Although it still might. Some good micro by MarineKing. You have a robotics facility on the way for WhiteRa back at home, still making probes, making sure to mine. A good force field. The Marines would have been forced to go up one at a time on this ramp, maybe possibly both. Oh, and they are going up one at a time. A good trap allows the Zealot to actually do damage. Meanwhile, MarineKing, his true objective was to get these Hellions up into the main of WhiteRa, kill as many probes as he can. That lone sentry was left to fight off those 3 Marines, and unfortunately was unable to prevail. This medevac is, of course, going to get sniped off. Going to kill these Hellions as well. And it looks like 8 workers were killed by MarineKing. Not the most workers ever killed by a group of Hellions, but it is quite a hefty number. WhiteRa, of course, is going to need as many probes as he can to defend what is looking like a 1-1-1 type build. Of course, there's a second barracks, but it's all the same. It seems like it's going in that direction of a general 1-1-1 build. And we do have WhiteRa coming out with his Warp Prism, his trademark unit. These Stalkers are going to try and do some damage. Loses 1 Stalker, loses 2 Stalkers. It's rather unfortunate. We still have a big ball of Marines. This Raven, of course, is still alive. His point defense drone is going to be invaluable to MarineKing when the time comes. Tanks piling up. With siege mode being researched, siege mode, of course, making the tanks infinitely more useful. An Immortal is on the way. Where's that? Where's the Warp Prism? I know it's there. There it is. Coming in with a drop of a Sentry and 3 Zealots. Going to try and wreck the mineral line of MarineKing, try and delay this inevitable 1-1-1 push. And of course, he does know the tech in this base now, having, of course, formed his Warp Prism over it. So some SCVs die. Looks like WhiteRa's going to pick up those units and just fly away. Doesn't want to lose all those units when he can just save them, fly away, and utilize them at a different point in the game. Meanwhile, these Stalkers are coming back up. And this Warp Prism is coming back over, dropping the units. MarineKing is pulling his units back to go and deal with this Warp Prism harassment. A couple more SCVs die. Looks like the Sentry does not go down. Warp Prism does save it. Meanwhile, these Stalkers are over here trying to kill that. And there's a Banshee over here trying to get a few kills. It looks like it only managed to get 1 kill before being forced away. These Stalkers, of course, did kill the supply depot that was here. It's going to be a pain in MarineKing's side. It's going to have less supply available to him. I'm going to have to spend more money on that. But it looks like he is deciding to push out now. He's pulled some SCVs to go do some stuff. He's got 4 tanks, a huge amount of Marines. What is that? 21 Marines. Of course, there's Raven. There's a Banshee. Is there another Banshee? What's the unit count look like? There are 2 Banshees, not sure where the second one is, but WhiteRa is dropping in this base. There's the second Banshee. Dropping, killing all the, well, not all the SCVs, but most of the SCVs left back in MarineKing's base. Yeah, this is definitely not looking good for MarineKing here in terms of economy. He's definitely all in over here with this attack. Point defense drone, zapping all those Stalkers, making the, or not necessarily the Stalkers, but making the Stalkers pretty freaking useless. Point defense drone is out of energy. It does die. WhiteRa trying to kill as many units as he can. Is he going to pick up the Raven? He does have these 3 Immortals, but they can't really reach their main target of the tank quite yet. This Warp Prism is going to die. Maybe it almost gets away, but it is dead. Back here, 1 Immortal does go down. Only a few Stalkers left, but the Marine count is dwindling, which is the main force against these Immortals. The 2 Immortals are going to easily be able to clean up these tanks. Of course, there's this Banshee left, but WhiteRa is now going to have the capability to warp in a few more Stalkers once his warp gates recharge. There we go. And cleaning up these few remaining air units is not going to be a problem for WhiteRa. It looks like he has held off that rush pretty well. These Banshees are, of course, up here trying to do some damage, but the damage has really been done. There's only 2 more SCVs left for WhiteRa. Unless WhiteRa chooses to simply leave his keyboard alone. And there's the GG. Yeah, it wasn't really. WhiteRa was in a very good situation after denying that 111 push that was very delayed because of WhiteRa's smart decision to do that Warp Prism harass. It prevented MarineKing from moving out as soon as he had wanted to, I'm sure. Allowed WhiteRa to get more units out, which is really just what he needed. More units, more Immortals as well. The Immortals, of course, helped immensely with the tanks. Really, when the tanks were left, they were the only units there. But regardless, having more units just allows more firepower, more DPS, which is great when you're trying to deal with a lot of units, such as a big cluster of Marines and a traditional 1-1-1 attack force. Very, very well played by both players. Of course, they are of the pro caliber, so that's nothing to not expect. That was kind of a really confusing sentence, but it's pretty much expected that pro players are going to play at a very high level, and that game was no exception. Both players playing very well. Great game on behalf of both of them. This game is part of a series. I will be casting the rest of the game in this series, so make sure to check out those games. It was a really cool series by two really good players. Really cool, well-known, well-liked players, I'm sure you know. So, if you like my cast, make sure to let me know. Send me an email, leave comments, stuff like that. My email is cookiekingsc@gmail.com. If you'd like me to cast a game, I'm willing to do that for you too. I'm working on getting more pro games to cast just because more people are willing to watch programs. But if you'd like for me to cast a game of you playing, I would certainly be glad to do that. Just send me an email with your replay file attached, and we'll get to that as soon as I can. With that, I'm going to go do other stuff like cast other games, maybe play some StarCraft. I don't know yet. So yeah, keep watching my videos if you like them. If you don't, then you don't really have to.